President Biden and the First Lady have just arrived on the beaches of Normandy, where 80 years ago today, 160,000 Allied troops landed on the European continent to begin the long battle to defeat Berlin and defeat Nazi Germany. Here's President Biden arriving at the American ceremony in Normandy. He will be meeting some of the last surviving members who participated in Operation Overlord. In his proclamation, Biden says, quote, "Today we remember all the Americans who laid down their lives on D-Day to help end the tyranny of fascism across Europe, liberate oppressed peoples, and ensure the flame of liberty would burn bright around the world."
Okay. My dearly departed Nana would always say, if you're not, it's some moments in life, if you don't laugh, you might cry. You've got a choice of two emotions. You're either going to laugh at the situation or you're going to cry. And we're going to choose today to laugh at the things that are humiliating for Joe Biden, and we're going to cry at the memory of the soldiers on D-Day who deserve to be respected, and we're going to separate those things and try and do so in a way that only we can on this program with a Joe Biden fart meme up front. Today is Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Biden disgraces D-Day with bizarre pooping incident. What happened? We'll play you all the video, and then we'll play it back, and we'll do like in a slow motion ESPN replay situation. And you decide. You decide. Joe Biden being dragged off stage during the D-Day ceremony. For what reason? Not sure. Also meeting invisible people. Once again, Joe Biden seeing ghosts. Hunter Biden's ex-wife, stripper ex-girlfriend, and gun salesman testify against him. The prosecution may rest its case. At the end of this week, we'll see what happens and give you full updates as to what's happening with the Hunter Biden trial. Georgia appeals court halts dead the Fannie Willis, big Fannie prosecution of Donald Trump. And we celebrate as libs scream and seethe. That's not happening. That case is never going to see the light of day. Just count on that one. Take it to the bank. And Congressman Jim Jordan joins the show on the heels of criminal referrals for the Biden family. That's something that we've been calling for a long time on this program. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is the Benny Show. Make me want to do the knock knock with my ring there. Okay. All right, cool. Didn't work. It wasn't as cool there, but I didn't crap my pants like Joe Biden did in the meme. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden is suffering some type of horrible medical emergency overseas. If you ever suffer a horrible medical emergency, like for instance, a pre-planned pandemic, now you're just in time for election season, seeing all the bird flu news hitting the airwaves. Well, I encourage you to go and check out my friends. Check out my friends at the Wellness Company. Whether you're Joe Biden, okay, and you have to be dragged off stage, can't wait to play those clips, or you're seeing invisible things, that's clearly a mental health episode that's going on. Shame on Jill Biden. Or whether you're just like a regular American who don't want to be trapped again by the COVID rules and be told what you can and cannot do, and be prepared for what they have cooked up because they're losing this election. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to go check out my friends at the wellness companies. They have doctors and medical professionals that you can trust. Their medical emergency kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy and ready for anything. These guys helped get me back on air live this week. It's awesome. Their medical emergency kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications as well as a guidebook for safe use and safe life-saving medications. Rest assured knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics on hand to help keep you and your family safe, just like me this past weekend. It was so awesome to be partnered with the Wellness Company. Go to twc.health/Benny. That's twc.health/Benny and enter the code Benny for 10% off. That's twc.health/Benny, promo code Benny for 10% off. See site for details. Prescription may be required. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Joe Biden, where is my chair? Bizarre moment when Jill covers her mouth as Joe suddenly bends down during the 80th anniversary D-Day speech. Joe Biden bent over to sit in a imaginary chair. We kid you not. It is really something, a devastating video. We now mentioned it 3 times. Let's go ahead and play the video. Here's Joe Biden trying to get into a chair. Some say this is Joe Biden pooping. I don't know. Let's go. Here we go.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
What is he doing? Play it again. Watch Biden. What is he doing?
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
What? You know what? I have a long cable here. Here. Like, there's no chair behind me. All right. If I'm bending over during the show, would you call a doctor? My wife watched this show. Would you call a doctor if I suddenly started like bending over to try and sit in something live during the show? Would you call a doctor? Yeah, you should. I'm having an episode. I'm seeing things, or I feel faint, or something's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And something's terribly, terribly wrong with Joe Biden. Some said that he might have been having a very senior moment or a bowel movement on stage. Here's what we know. From stem to stern, the whole thing was incredibly awkward and incredibly embarrassing for our nation. Again, these are the D-Day ceremonies. Like, dude, seriously? Joe Biden will be the last president that we have that was alive during World War II. Like, Joe Biden, I think he was born in 44, 43. Get me that. Joe Biden was born technically the silent generation era, right? And so this should mean something to him. Oh, 42. Okay, so he was born in 1942. World War II ends in 1945, and so Joe Biden again would be very, very small, but nonetheless can say that he was part of that. He's the last president ever that we'll have that can say he's part of that. And yet here we have his super weird arrival at the D-Day ceremonies in France. What's he doing here? These are the beaches. These are the Normandy beaches. He's just scowling with his hands at his sides. What's he doing exactly? The whole thing is just undignified. It's an embarrassment. This is some of the most sacred hallowed ground on earth. And here's Joe Biden can't even stay through the ceremony. So these ceremonies go on, and there's all these survivors, right? There's all these World War II veterans there, survivors of either D-Day, World War II veterans. I'm not exactly sure what the guest list is. Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg's there. There's a bunch of senators, members of Congress that are there. I know Ted Cruz is there. And Joe Biden can't even remain on stage. Here's Jill Jill literally dragging Joe off the stage during the ceremony. So wait, the president of France is now stepping in to do the American president's job by greeting our service members? You realize what you just witnessed there? The president of France is having to greet the service members, take the challenge coins from these old men who all have to be in their like 90s or 100 years old. They have to be at least 90 to 100. Some of them well into their hundreds of years old. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing is a total embarrassment to the country. Again, not exactly certain that it could be, more embarrassing. I'm not sure we could be in a worse situation. There are clips of the speech though, where Joe Biden is effectively communicating. I'm not sure if we have these loaded up. I want to make sure that we get this. Do we have this loaded up? Joe Biden talking about how the Ukraine war is the new World War II. Like, we were allied with Russia in World War II, right? You didn't realize that, right? Do you know anything? Have you studied any of it? Like that's actually how we won World War II. Like, Russia actually suffered virtually all the losses of the nations that fought in World War II. Like, Russia considerably fought and did the very most to solve that problem. I'm not saying they're the good guys, just saying that is what it is. And yet Joe Biden during his speech, if you can call it that, is like saying, oh yeah, like Ukraine is just the same as World War II. Wait, what? No. No. Let's go ahead and grab that clip. Hot Mike, my advanced team said I got to be the first one to leave. Okay. Let's have a listen.
Advanced team said I got to leave, be the first one to leave because I told people up.
Dude never knows where he is. Dude never knows what he's talking about. And the dude has absolutely had adult diaper moments on camera. We have them cataloged here. So there was a couple of times that this has happened. One, on MSNBC Live, Joe Biden pooped his pants.
Mr. President.
This is bona fide. We know this for a fact. All right, because Joe Biden's done a lot of interviews. This was a live interview. And that's why it's so dangerous to do live interviews with Joe Biden. In mid-question, Joe Biden just gets up, takes his microphone, doesn't take it off. He literally walks off with his microphone and walks really quickly off set. So fast that the cameraman has to zoom the camera out because he's like, what's Joe Biden doing here? Watch.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction. And
what's he doing? Why would you do that? And with that clip is cut way too short. The 1 minute long version of that clip, you can see that the anchor there, Nicole Wallace, is in the middle of asking Biden a question, and he just gets up and leaves. What is that? Joe Biden on the White House lawn doing this really strange crouching stance that, of course, every parent knows. Also the same stance that he did during the D-Day ceremony, right? There you go. What is he doing exactly? Joe Biden walked up to a bunch of White House cameras and said, my butt's been wiped. There is no other explanation for what he's saying here.
What must be what? What must be what? What must be what?
All right. Do we have the Joe Biden at Normandy clip? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and play this because it's pretty cringe, but also so humiliating to the people who lost their lives in Normandy. Do you have somebody in your family who lost their lives in World War II? Or in any of the D-Day beaches or raids? Like these kind of things, really powerful and something that many families obviously venerate with great honor. And so to abuse those legacies for modern day political purposes is a abhorrent thing to do. Here's Joe Biden doing it.
They've inflicted on the Russian aggressors. They've suffered tremendous losses, Russia. The numbers are staggering. 350,000 Russian troops dead or wounded.
Dude, Like, I know you might not like it, okay? I know you might not like it. And I'm certainly no fan of the Soviet Union. I'm an anti-fan of the Soviet Union. But historic realities is that the vast majority of the losses during World War II were suffered by the Russian people, and that the Russian people were directly allied with America. That's why Stalin was at Yalta with FDR and Churchill. So to use a World War II ceremony as like time to brag about dead Russians is really bad. It's just a really tough look. And anybody who had any sense of decency would like maybe take the day off on that, right? Like take the day off, or maybe take the war off, which would of course be our contention here at the Benny Show. Like maybe like stop sending our young men and women to the slaughter for nothing. Maybe peace in our time is what we should be asking for. And that is what we ask for in this program. Like, we don't want our sons and daughters to go die in some far-off desert somewhere fighting for some country that doesn't want democracy. Our country doesn't even have democracy. All right, maybe we start here, right? Let's try the democracy stuff here and stop locking up our presidential candidates. Maybe let's try peace. For my entire life, America has been at war, mainly because we've been led by cowards like Joe Biden, who's a total draft dodger. Bush, who's a draft dodger. Kerry wanted to be president. He's a guy who burned all of his medals, right? And threw them over the White House fence. He's a coward. Bill Clinton's a draft dodger. Whatever happened to the men of service? You remember, we had a much better country when people like Ike Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, John Kennedy, people who served in the Great Wars, when those people led this place. And we had a much better country when a man who believed that war was evil and that peace should be the aim was in charge of this country. Just a quick and refreshing palate cleanser of Donald Trump on D-Day and in France, and the difference that a single president makes.
They were young men with their entire lives before them. They were husbands who said goodbye to their young brides and took their duty as their fate. They were fathers who would never meet their infant sons and daughters because they had a job to do. And with God as their witness, they were going to get it done. They came wave after wave, without question, without hesitation, and without complaint. More powerful than the strength of American arms was the strength of American hearts. These men ran through the fires of hell, moved by a force no weapon could destroy. The fierce patriotism of a free, proud, and sovereign people.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something that is very interactive on this program right now. I have a clip for you. I have the comment section right here in front of. We're always watching the chat. I'm with you in the chat. We are together in a movement, okay? I'm watching you live right now, okay? There's your comment right there. We'll put them up. We'll put the comments up. I'm going to play you a clip of Joe Biden, and I need you to comment what's going on with him. Tell me what you think is going on with this man in this moment. I'm married to a medical professional, and she can't quite figure out what's happening. There was a moment where Joe Biden was on stage live on CNN. Now, it wasn't a military event, okay? It was far less disgraceful to our national honor, but Joe Biden was on stage during an event, and suddenly he just goes like this. And he like Rocket Mans. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening here. I can show you reporting from yesterday that Joe Biden is beginning to start to, people are starting to say that Joe Biden's freezing up in the White House. comment with me, and we'll like roll the comments through. What is happening to Joe Biden in this clip? It's about 2 years old. Okay, here we go.
About that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked to like 67 financial experts who said that they saw high inflation going all the way or deep into 2022.
What's going on there? Now, you'll notice that the CNN cameraman, I worked in cable news and I worked in corporate news. I know what's going on backstage. They're like, what the hell is he doing? I don't know. What the hell is he doing? What's going on? We're not sure. Quick, cut to another angle. It makes him look bad. We'll play it beside me here. Keep the comments rolling in. We'll play it beside me here. What's going on? He was pooping. Like, what was he? Was he's being boosted with drugs? Have you ever seen anyone do that? We got toddlers, so I have seen like toddlers go into their funny little stances. Every parent knows what that means. Is it a stroke? Right. Like, what's going on here? Dementia is progressing. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, you don't know. Something terrible's happening to the dude. And like Anderson Cooper tries to play it off, but because it was live and because this was relatively early in, they didn't know how to deal with this dementia patient. They didn't know how to like cut around it. They've like now learned how to cut around this stuff. What's this guy going to do? We got a debate. We got a debate in 20 days. 20 days live on CNN. I guess he has a podium to grab then. But like, what's, again, I'll stop. But like, I'll stop. But good example, right? What's going on there? What's going on? And when you see him do stuff like this, I'm just going to play it one more time. This is Joe Biden from moments ago in France, like using those same stiff arms to try and find a chair that doesn't exist. So creepy. One more time. Here we go.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
And then you can see Jill there, the night nurse, is like holding, Jill is like trying to be like, get up, get up, get up, there's no chair. There's no chair. As her makeup, Alice Cooper, like just runs down her face. Tough, man. It's a tough look for the country today. It's a tough look. A commentary on World War II soldiers. Let's grab that guy. Let's get that guy that talked about the country that he no longer recognizes. This is really, really important. Alex, there are two clips that we're gonna grab here because they're very important, and I want to like give these guys some dignity. I don't want to like just use Joe Biden to disgrace their memories, and give them a little airtime, and then also let the guys like actually explain themselves and what they see happening to this country right now. So, World War II veteran who's going viral over saying, I don't recognize my country anymore. And imagine fighting for a place and being willing to give your entire life for it, and then being of old age where you should be able to sit back and enjoy what's the fruits of your sacrifice. And then you get what? Hamas encampments all over the nation. Your presidential candidates being locked up. I thought that was why we, wait a second. I thought that was why we wasn't that the point of like fighting World War II? They were like locking up political prisoners and making other parties illegal in Europe, right? Wasn't that what we were doing here? Now we got J6ers in prison? Are we the baddies, as they say? Look at this. Listen to this poor war hero here. His name's Rondo Sharp, World War II veteran, talking about how he feels like a foreigner in the United States, in his country. Oh, man. Get your blood moving, man. Listen to this.
The real truth?
Yeah.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country lots of times, and I don't like it. It makes my heart real heavy. And I just hope we can pull out of this. There's too much Hollywood going on in Washington all the time. The important subjects they don't cover. So the thing is, I hope all the guys will rally up and we'll go back and straighten it all out.
Talking about going and like doing a D-Day beach situation in his own country? Is that what the guy's saying? Does he have a right to say that? Are you going to prosecute him, Merrick Garland? I can't wait for the knock on that guy's door. How dare you, insurrectionist? You are a Nazi, is what they'd call him. Remember, that's exactly how this all works. Okay? One of the saddest quotes I ever saw was that America spent the lives and fortunes of their best men fighting some of the worst ideologies on earth, which are undoubtedly true, irrevocably true, only to become like dumber versions of those ideologies, only to become like a society obsessed with race. Like racial fanatics as we are in this country, but like the opposite, but like swung the opposite. It's wrong this way. It's wrong this way. It's incredible. There's so many examples of it. We don't have the time to mention them all. But it's the same with the Soviet Union, right? Like we fought Stalinism and we fought Stalinism. Stalin's bad. We spent all this time, all this money, all this treasure fighting Stalin. Think about how much more rich we would be, right? If we didn't have to fight the Soviet Union. We didn't have to dump all the money down the black holes. Think about where our national debt would be. But we had to beat Marxism, didn't we? Right? Had to beat Marxism, had to beat Soviet Union. For what? Oh, well, you see, Stalin, he locked up his political enemies and persecuted their supporters and then used federal law enforcement to crack down on any ideology that he didn't approve of. Oh, and then he locked his people into camps, you see. They called them gulags. We would call them COVID containment centers. And he did so with the federal authority. No, it wasn't constitutional, but it's for your health, you see. Like, we've just become the dumber versions of the ideologies that, like, all these great men went to fight. It's such a disgrace, their legacy. If you're living today and you're listening to this, this is actually how you honor these men, is by reversing, becoming the ideologies that they went to fight. And even if you want to come fast forward to modern wars, the young men, women who went to go fight in the theaters of the wars on terror, they went there to try and fight like dark ages religious zealotry. But this is precisely what the modern day left has created, a cult, a fetishized religious cult that demands fealty to their deeply dark diktats. They really are like woke ISIS. In true form. We have a library of video content from the Hamas hole encampments. We can show you American ISIS. We can show you these people, woke ISIS. So like we've just become like worse, like dumb, like really sad, really cringy versions of these wicked ideologies that we went out to fight. Now it's time to fight them here. It's why a president swears on a Bible, foreign or domestic. I'm going to fight those enemies, foreign or domestic. He swears on that Bible. And so through the power of Christ, I'll let him win, because I can't see more videos like this. I can't see more videos like this man sobbing in his Marine uniform saying, you've wasted the country that we gave you. Watch.
I don't know. I've lived a good life.
I've had a lot of happiness, smiling, telling everybody that everything was beautiful every day. If I went into my church and didn't say everything was beautiful, they'd think I was sick. And I'm not that way. I mean, I sincerely believe in this old world that everything is beautiful. I mean, if I wake up in the morning and see these plants out here and all those flowers that are in there and the green grass on the ground, that's beautiful. And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. They do. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for. It's just not it. Darling, I'm so sorry. I'll be all right. Just takes me time to get over it. Why me? See, sitting here like this, see, all this going on. It's crazy. It's just, Emily, it's just not the same. That isn't what we fought for. Oh well, I should be worried about it, I guess. I'm 100 years old, they say.
You have a heart of stone if that does not move you emotionally. I'm not a man who weeps or cries, but if you don't feel mist in your eye watching that clip and recognizing that the 30, 50 million criminal aliens that come tearing into this place, red carpet rolled out to them by Joe Biden so that he can, as quickly as possible, extra constitutionally rid them of anything that would stop them from preventing voting an election, from scooping up Social Security, Medicaid, from disgracing, quite frankly, simply by the nature of the rule breaking, an affront to that man's sacrifice. That's what he's talking about. And when that guy cries, that's what he's talking about. Like, what he's talking about is the ungrateful destruction of this country that was built by much better men, inherited by a despicable ruling class who did nothing to preserve what they had been gifted, but instead set about, like all vandals do, taking graffiti and Molotov cocktails and planks and wood and bats to the cathedral of this place. And like all Neanderthalic, low information vandals, they see something beautiful and they just have to destroy it. That man handed a beautiful country off to the next generation that his generation so deeply sacrificed for on this day, June the 5th, D-Day, June the 6th, D-Day. And D-Day was just one of many, many days of that war, but it was a great day. And the best that we can possibly offer to you, sir, and I'll do so with, here's a photo of one of our events, us at one of our events in South Carolina during the presidential primary. I got to meet this World War II veteran, and perhaps your family is watching today. 98 years old, 95, 98 years old, big-time Trump supporter. And here's our promise to you. Our promise to you is that we are not here to strip mine this place or to destroy it. We are not here to try and get what's ours and then leave, or to try and shell this place off to a ungrateful, degenerate group of people who don't care about your sacrifice, who desecrate actually your memorials. Something that's never remembered. Maybe ALX, you can grab these photos. The desecration of the World War II memorial by Antifa. Just an important reminder. During the Antifa riots of DC, they targeted the World War II memorial, and it's something worth remembering today. And they vandalized it. They graffitied it. And they made sure to spray that off as quick as possible, and that's fine, good on them. But I remember that that's the monument that the Antifa attacked. Antifa, anti-fascist. Oh, okay, let's go after the people who defeated the Nazis. The most dangerous form of fascism, I guess, from an academic standpoint, we've ever seen. So let's go after those people. It shows you the troglodytical, orc-like thinking of these mongoloids who make up now the power structure of the modern day left. Helps you fight. Helps you understand what you're fighting. And so here's what I promise to you. Here's what I promise to that man. Here's what I promise to the man in the video and to everyone. We're fighting. We'll dig our heels in right here in this dirt. It's our dirt. Okay, we were born here, and we're not going anywhere. And our role is to preserve this place for our children and for the next generation, and to not just strip mine it, but to make it a better country and to leave it a better country, because this is actually the charge. This is a godly charge to all generations, is to provide and to give. When your children ask for bread, don't give them a snake. And the snake would proverbially be handing them a culture run by these orcs, these Marxists, by this horde, and we intend defeating them. We don't want to lose as America first. We're going to win as America first, and we're going to defeat these people. We're going to shame them. We're going to call them what they are. They're Stalinists. We're going to call them to their faces and then humiliate them on TV. We're going to go after and disgrace them, and we're going to fight. And we're not going to mule and worry and wring our hands and send strongly worded tweets. We're actually going to do our part, just like you did your part. Of course, in a much more humble way, right? We have no great war to fight, I suppose. Ours is a culture war, if you wish to even play on those terms. I'm not trying to compare the two. We're just trying to say that every generation has their part and their time and their moment, and that's actually God's calling on you. It has nothing to do with us. God chose when we were born. All right, could have put you on the beaches of D-Day, could have put me on the beaches of D-Day, or He could have put us in the 1890s, right? Also, no great war. So it is what it is. God's timing for you is perfect. He put you here in a place and a time to fight His battles, and that's what we're going to do. And so that's it. I mean, I guess that's the best that I can sum up what we do at this program. Just sear it in the back of your minds here. D-Day Memorial. Check it out. Oh wow. Do black vets count? Got it? They're so smart, these people. Are y'all not tired yet? There's the Lincoln Memorial. Desecrated for Black Lives Matter. Got it? The statue of George Washington also desecrated. There you go. They also wrote on the gold wall with all the golden stars of the D-Day Memorial. You ever been there? They have the gold stars, and each star represents 3,000, 5,000, something like that, men who died. I'm not sure the number. It's been a while since I've been there. but each gold star represents a certain number of men who died during World War II, and they desecrated that element of the memorial to their abounding and great shame. And remember, Nancy Pelosi put on a kente cloth, got down on her syphilitic, arthritic knees, and then prayed to these people and worshipped them. Keep that in mind during World War II as you think about and consider the much greater men who sacrificed much greater than you or I probably shall ever for this nation. We tend to think that, like, you know, we're just lucky and we inherited this place. No, man. People built it and then, like, gave it to us to keep. Right? A republic, if you can keep it, says Ben Franklin. And there it is. Which side are you on? Are you on the side? And this final thing I'll say on this, I don't want to try my hardest. This kind of things pull at the heartstrings. Are you on the side of the lady who kneels down to the people who desecrate World War II monuments? Okay, that's one side. Or are you on the side of the man who honors those veterans and who stands in honor with them? Here's Donald Trump in Normandy, standing, not sitting, or not reaching for invisible chairs, or not running off the stage, not being dragged by his wife off the stage, standing there in solemn honor with them. Which side are you on? Okay, there's your choice. There's your choice. Okay. I know which side we're going to be on, baby. All right, here we go. Lock and load. So I have no idea what the soldiers on D-Day drank. I have no idea what was in their little tin cups. I presume, since it was a very, very early morning invasion, that it was coffee, but it might have been something stronger. I'm not exactly certain, ladies and gentlemen. I do know what's in my cup, and what's in my cup is Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee is my drink of choice inside of the studio. The reason why is for, well, everything we just talked about. We need to align ourselves with brands that believe in that vision of America, of not taking from this place, but actually giving back to it. Famous president once talked about asking not what your country can do for you, right? And got a pretty awesome legacy, in fact. And so Blackout Coffee is one of those amazing family-owned companies where their product is actually just exquisite. I drink it hot. I drink it iced. I always drink it black. Don't put sugar or milk in my coffee. And it tastes so good. That's how you can judge a good coffee. Like, what does it taste like when you just drink it straight off the ground bean? Blackout Coffee is 100% America, America first. And you should have your first cup of Blackout Coffee. Don't compromise today. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the coupon code Benny for 20% off your first order. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Be awake and not woke. Promo code Benny, baby. Rock and roll. So keep in mind that we do have Jim Jordan joining us in a moment here, ladies and gentlemen. He is getting set and ready. So I think it's important to jump into some of the trial updates for Hunter Biden, because that's what I want to talk with Jim Jordan about. The trial updates for Hunter Biden were pretty wild yesterday. Hunter's ex-wife testified, talking about how she had to clean out all the crack pipes from their car in order to let their kids drive it. So if their daughter wanted to drive the car, the mom had to go through and grab all the crack pipes from dad before letting the daughter drive the car. Really, again, restoring decency to the White House.
Well, Jesse, it was a busy day in the courtroom, and prosecutors, shockingly at the end of the day, said that tomorrow they may actually wrap up the case, but said they have 6 witnesses left, so it's not clear how they're going to fit 6 witnesses in. But as you mentioned, there were 4 witnesses today, 2 of those Hunter Biden's exes. His ex-wife, Kathleen Buell, and his ex-girlfriend also took the stand. This was a busy day today. Kathleen Buell told the jury the couple divorced after she found multiple crack pipes around Hunter and found them in cars that he owned. She says that she was worried, scared for him and for their 3 children, whom she sought to protect. Jurors were animated and paid close attention when she spoke. Buell said she continually checked his cars from 2015 to 2019, but admitted she didn't know the precise date she searched and that she never actually saw Hunter do drugs in person. She didn't know much about his business, though, when asked about it, the same businesses that Congress has been investigating.
Same businesses that Congress has been investigating, and we look forward to speaking with Chairman Jim Jordan about these criminal prosecutions here. Just an important important news break here. I want to make sure that we get to it. Hunter and James Biden referred for criminal prosecution. Just a reminder that every Republican that gets referred by Democrats for criminal prosecution, well, they go straight to prison. We'll see what happens to James and Hunter Biden. Hopefully a Joe Biden referral there once he's out of office. Maybe Joe Biden could explain to us, ladies and gentlemen, why his son was on so many drugs, why his son was such a disaster and a mess. Maybe Joe Biden would like to explain to Congress why you would take a son with so many clear demons and put him in charge of unlimited funnels of money in order to fuel those demons. Or maybe why the Satanic Sex Club in LA kicked him out. Joe Biden, however, based on a lot of available reporting, wouldn't be able to cogently explain really anything his way out of a paper bag. But there is somebody who's been able to drop the hammer on all of this, and that man's name is Chairman Jim Jordan, who joins the show now. Congressman, thank you so much for being on the program. What a interesting time here as we see the really wonderful family picture of the Biden family here unraveling in Delaware. I'm sure you've been following this case. Your main takeaways for Hunter?
Well, I mean, look, this is, I think in the broader context, I always come back to this case is brought by David Weiss, but remember what David Weiss tried to do last summer. He tried to get the sweetheart deal where nothing was going to, Hunter Biden was basically going to get charged with a couple misdemeanors last year. And only after the whistleblowers came forward, Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, and pointed out all the crazy things done in this investigation by David Weiss over a 4-year time frame, did it all blow up. And then, and only then, did David Weiss go to the Attorney General and say, hey, I need to be named special counsel. And the Attorney General does just that, names the guy who tried to get the sweetheart deal that was laughed out of court by Judge Noriega in the Delaware court. He's the guy who gets named special counsel. So we'll see what happens in this case. You know, it's on the gun charge, and there's some people who think that the Second Amendment, and there's some concerns there. But we'll see what happens there. I think the bigger one, frankly, is the tax charge case out in California. But we'll see. What I know is when Hunter Biden testified in front of our committee in his deposition, and his uncle James Biden as well, they said things that just do not look like they stack up, do not look like they're accurate. That's why we sent the referral.
Yeah, so I want to cover that. We'll pop the news up here. Can you talk us through this referral and why that these two Biden agents inside of the Biden crime family were sent these referrals to the DOJ? What is the basis of these referrals?
Well, the stories we got from the Bidens relative to meetings that took place in Los Angeles don't square up with other people we've deposed and documents we have. And then relative to Hunter Biden, he said he wasn't on one of these companies, wasn't one of the chief people on one of these companies, when in fact he was, and that's where a lot of the money was run through. And finally, maybe the one that's most interesting to me, the now somewhat famous text message where he says, I'm sitting here next to my father and you better get the money. He was talking with the Chinese energy company official. He told us during his deposition, I was talking to a different Zhao. It was like, he made it sound like, you know, the name was like Smith in the United States. There's all kinds of Smith, and I had the wrong Smith in my phone, in my contacts. Well, everything else we've seen says, no, you did it. You were talking to that individual, saying the things you were saying. So we've caught him in a number of those kind of things, and that's why, again, when you come in front of Congress and you raise your hand, you take the oath, you're supposed to be accurate, honest, and tell the truth, and it looks like he did not do that.
Do you expect any movement at the DOJ for this?
No.
Is this a referral that can stay over into a second Trump administration?
Yes. The answer to the last question is yes. The answer to the first question is no. But it can, like I said, it can be held over, and we'll see what the next administration, the next Attorney General, if they want to pursue it, we'll find out. But what we do know is they weren't straightforward with us in their deposition.
Why do Republicans get locked up for things like this, but not Democrats?
Because most Americans now understand, polling shows this, there's a double standard of justice in America, and it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be equal treatment under the law. The Lady Justice is supposed to be blind. That's why the blindfold is on her. But that's not the case. And again, the primary example is President Trump, but it's broader than that. But you think about President Trump, I always point out, Fani Willis, you talk about politics. Fani Willis starts her investigation in February 2021. She doesn't bring charges against President Trump until after he declares he's running for president. Alvin Bragg says first he campaigns that I'm going to get Trump. Then he gets in office and sees the case and sees how ridiculous it is. And he says, I cannot envision a world where I would indict President Trump and call Michael Cohen as a prosecution witness. And then he does just that after President Trump announces he's running for president. And then, of course, Merrick Garland doesn't appoint Jack Smith special counsel until 3 days after President Trump announces he's running for president. These are all political. The country sees that. That's the problem with our justice system. And it's why we've been pushing back so hard. It's why we called Colangelo and Bragg to come testify. It's why we want to bring in Brad Smith, the Federal Elections Commission expert, the guy who understands campaign finance, who the judge in New York wouldn't even allow the defense, President Trump's defense team, to put on the stand. We want to give him an opportunity to testify later this summer, and we're going to have him in as a witness as well.
Is Colangelo and Bragg going to, I mean, they have to, no? Yes.
Well, the way we normally work is there's this process you have to go through typically, because if you wind up in court, you want to show that you've tried to accommodate. So you ask them. If they tell you to take a hike, then you subpoena them. If they don't show up, you move to contempt, and then you go from there. And then that lays the groundwork if, in fact, you have to go to court. So we've asked them. They're supposed to get back to us tomorrow. We'll find out what they say. My guess is they're going to say we're not coming, and then we'll look to use the compulsory ways to get him here, and we'll see what happens from there.
Is there the Colangelo situation is so strange to me. Is there any explanation professionally to leave your pensioned job as the number 3 guy at the DOJ you've worked for your entire life? I mean, you're the under assistant attorney general, right? Like, this is a really powerful position, and then go work in some rat-infested backwater, dingy office in Lower Manhattan. It defies reason, Congressman, for somebody to do that. And could a move like that have been made without the direct approval of Merrick Garland?
Well, he told us under oath this week that he had nothing to do with that, but it does sort of raise the general question. You went from one of the high-ranking officials in the Justice Department to the Manhattan DA's office. Well, we all know why he went. He went to go prosecute President Trump, and he went after the guy who wrote the book, Mr. Pomerantz, who was the assistant DA for Alvin Bragg, resigned because he thought Alvin Bragg wasn't going to bring the case at the time. He resigned. And then Colangelo, I think what happened is when he sees Alvin Bragg is going to pursue it, that's when he goes, because it's all about him going after President Trump. And we should back up. Remember, this is a guy who worked in the Obama administration, Colangelo did. Then he went to work in the New York Attorney General's office, so he's working for Letitia James. Then he comes back into the Biden Justice Department. When Pomerantz leaves, thinking that it's not going to happen, and there's an opening there, and then Alvin Bragg changes his mind after President Trump announces he's running for president, then Colangelo says, well, shazam, I'm going to go back to New York, and I'm going to go after President Trump. That, to me, is the most logical thing that happened here. I think anyone with common sense can see that, and it sure looks political. And we asked the Attorney General what kind of communications may or may not have happened between Alvin Bragg's office, Fani Willis's office, and the Department of Justice, and he didn't know. He said, I don't know, but we want to find out, and we've asked for that information months ago, and we're going to pursue that as well.
It defies reason to assume the narrative that Biden had nothing to do with these prosecutions. The New York Times has entire essays about Joe Biden pressuring Merrick Garland, and they're splattering it on the front page with these ominous photos of Merrick Garland. Like we've gone back and revisited them and read them on air. You can see the pressure campaign in public, like on the pages of the New York Times to go prosecute Trump.
Not to mention Nathan Wade on the taxpayer dime, working for Fonnie Willis, comes to D.C., charges the taxpayers of Georgia, maybe in fact uses federal funds because they get grant money into their office down there. We got a whistleblower who said they misspent the grant money, Ms. Timpson, who's come forward. So Nathan Wade's coming to D.C. to talk with, it looks like, the January 6th committee, the White House, and the DOJ. I mean, come on. And to talk about how they're going to go after the White House's opponent in the presidential election. It's not supposed to work that way. And it's why Americans are rightly frustrated about this double standard.
Just really quickly here, Congressman, the audience was pretty upset last Thursday. And it seems like there was a Rubicon crossed that we just can't go back from. Yeah. And now it led us to then do Friday morning's show, sort of rounding up what crimes have Democrats committed in red states. You know, and we were able to actually pretty quickly, we don't consider ourselves Rhodes Scholars around here. We went to community college in Iowa, but we were able to pretty quickly find out that Jim Biden ran a massive Medicaid and Medicare scheme out of Florida and defrauded the fine people of Florida, closed down like a ton of hospitals down here through open fraudulence and through criminal activity, and never got even a slap on the wrist for it. And that's a state crime committed right here in this territory. That Hunter Biden tried to sell LNG out of Houston and was filing paperwork in Texas left and right to try and get like all these gas lines through in Texas. And that the Clinton Foundation is still and has always been run out of Little Rock. With somebody who worked in the Trump DOJ as Attorney General for that state, and Sarah Sanders as governor. And so I guess I would like to give the floor to you when it comes to, it seems as though the only way you're a wrestler, the only way that you actually respect somebody is if you know that there's going to be a counter move. Is there a counter move?
Well, I mean, I think there may be, in fact. I mean, you can think of Ken Paxton in the Attorney General in Texas. Maybe, in fact, you're going to have attorney generals like him who say, like, okay, enough of this. And if we see the same kind of thing from a federal official, we're going to do the same thing in our state. I hate that's the situation we're in. But that was certainly what the Democrats coordinated with Bragg and with Willis, and then at the federal level with Jack Smith. I mean, they were throwing it all out there, hoping that one of the cases would go through. Now, the good news is the case in Miami has fallen apart. I mean, Jack Smith, he actually altered the order, changed the order of the documents he seized from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, you can't do that. It's called, some people call that tampering with evidence. And I think the irony, of course, is Jack Smith mishandled the documents that he's accusing President Trump of mishandling. Go figure. So that case has fallen apart in down there. Fonnie Willis' case has fallen apart. And of course, the case, Jack Smith case in D.C., the Supreme Court's looking at the immunity and what the parameters are for presidential immunity, and that's on hold. So the only case that went through is this crazy case in New York, and it's, I believe, going to get overturned at the appellate level. So, but again, you have this happening, and I assume there'll be some Republican attorney generals or DAs who say, like, enough of this. We're going to fight the same thing. We're going to fight with the same tactic. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, you're from the great state of Ohio. I have a feeling there are plenty of crimes that have been committed in the territory of your state, and it'd be nice. It'd be very nice to see. It'd be nice to see, because I don't want to see it go that way either. But you gotta draw a line. And you got to hit back. Otherwise, you just keep getting bullied. And I'm sick of being bullied as a Republican. I hear you. Yeah. Congressman, it is the celebration of D-Day today. We spent the first part of the show sort of covering quite an embarrassing scene with Joe Biden up there. But ending on a high note, I know you have a ton of veterans in your district. A message to them. Well, God bless them. I mean, that greatest generation, it's always appropriate to, I think, honor and recognize courage and bravery and patriotism, which is exactly what that generation displayed, not just that day, but throughout that entire effort when they took on and defeated the evil of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan and everything else. And today, talking about what started the liberation of Europe, amazing day. And I still remember, because it was the first election I could vote in for president was in 1984. I'm in college, and I do remember Reagan going there for the 40th, and now here we are 40 years later, and we have this celebration of the bravery of these amazing men some of them 17, 18 years old, who God bless them, did some amazing things.
Yeah, good. Did some amazing things. Be nice to have a little service back, a little nature of service instead of self-service back leading our nation. And maybe no new wars also. That'd be really refreshing to see. Congressman, you're one of the few guys that actually like throw down, and we thank you for that. And it's one of the few people we can actually look to for a win every once in a while. And so we thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being on the program. Obviously, y'all know where to follow. 5 million Americans can't. 5 million Americans. 5 million. Holy God, team, we got some work to do. Holy smokes!
Well, we appreciate what you do. You present the facts in a compelling fashion, and that's important in today's world. So thank you for all the good work you do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Godspeed.
You too.
I legitimately didn't know. I'd never can a response. I'd never can a response. What a can a response. I legitimately didn't know the guy had 5 million followers on X. Did you know that, ALX? Did you know he had 5 million followers? That's crazy. Good for him. Way to go, Jim. Way to go. Way to go, Johnny. Johnny boy. Speaking of Johnny boy, let's go ahead and run through really quickly what the key takeaways were for the Hunter Biden trial yesterday. It's very important for you to understand what's happening inside the courthouse, because you can't have cameras in there, can't have photos in there of anything, right? They try and keep those situations tight so they can control them, right? So yesterday, Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Kathleen Buell, told the court that she found crack pipes in her home. She knew they were from Hunter. She would have to hide them from their daughters. His stripper ex-girlfriend, Zoe Castan. Oh, another stripper ex-girlfriend. Okay, great. I'm getting confused because there are so many. Testified against Hunter Biden, detailing his addiction to crack cocaine. Defense lawyer Abe Lowell tried to convince the jury after attending a Brentwood, Los Angeles rehab for a week in late August, that Hunter was on a sober streak and did not consider himself a drug abuser when he bought the gun. Yet he had crack on the gun when they found it. His stripper ex-girlfriend blew a hole in that theory, telling the jury that Hunter smoked crack every 20 minutes when she stayed with him from September 16 to 23 of that year, after the rehab stint, and just a few days before the gun purchase. The prosecution showed text messages in which she told her, "I can be sober, but I'll always be an addict." Oh my. All right. Here's what the stripper ex-girlfriend had to say.
Also on the stand, Zoe Keston. She's a former stripper who spent weeks with Hunter in various hotels across the country, including LA's high-end Chateau Marmont in 2018. That's the same year, Jesse, he allegedly lied on a federal gun form, saying that he was not a user or addicted to illegal drugs. Keston testified under immunity, saying from their first meeting at a New York strip club, Hunter Biden was a crack cocaine user, using roughly every 20 minutes at times. She said he did want to get clean, though he did not under her watch when she was hanging out with him. She says that Hunter gave her a code, texted her a code that was good for 5 minutes at a time at ATMs so she could withdraw large sums of cash. She said he did the same with drug dealers. She also recalled a time when Hunter said that he could be sober, but he will always be an addict. Now, the store employee who sold Hunter the Colt handgun in 2018 here in Wilmington, Delaware, he said that Hunter came into the store looking for a gun. This contradicts what Hunter's attorney said earlier this week, claiming that he was in a nearby cell phone store and casually walked into the gun store and maybe felt some pressure to buy the gun. Gordon Cleveland, who was his gun clerk, Jesse, also testified that he saw Hunter Biden check no on the box on that federal gun form, which is really the center of this entire case.
So you got the guy inside of the gun store who they're trying to smear this guy. It's incredible. I mean, it makes you want to do something nice for him. They're trying to smear this guy. This guy's a garbage man. This guy named Gordon Cleveland. He's the employee that sold Hunter Biden the gun. You know what he does for a living? Gordon Cleveland. He's a garbage man. Goes and picks up trash to clean up his community. He works to go pick up trash, but then to make ends meet, he goes and works at a firearm a licensed firearm dealer. And he had the misfortune of selling Hunter Biden this firearm that then Hunter Biden does, like, rips a million bongs and a bunch of crack pipes, chucks the gun in a dumpster next to a high school, and then blames Mexicans on it. Oh, did you catch the show yesterday? Well, this is exactly what Hunter Biden did. We're not making it up. It's according to the police report. Hunter Biden, in a fit of rage, gonna have to take a second here. Hunter Biden decided to bang his dead brother's widow. That's what he did. I can't sugarcoat it. It's just is what it is. They got into a fight because he got her addicted to crack. We learned that in this trial. Hunter Biden, after illegally purchasing a gun, decided to then fight with his dead brother's widow, subsequently causing her to irrationally take the firearm and throw it into a trash can. Throwing that into a trash can right next to a high school would, of course, be a huge felony and a big no-no, along with lying on your federal NICS form, where Hunter Biden lied on his federal NICS form saying that he wasn't addicted to crack when he was very addicted to crack. I mean, like, Mount St. Helens level crack mountains were being smoked at the time. And then when, and here's the article right here, then when questioned about it by police, the police are like, why did you throw the gun into the trash can next to the high school? Like, that's dangerous. I thought you were against school shootings, right? Like, that's a bad thing. Doesn't your father mule on about that day and night? But you're the one depositing a gun next to a school? Well, Hunter Biden had to come up with a quick one there, and you can see here from the police report. Hunter Biden pointed at two Mexican males who were just doing their job at a loading dock at a grocery store. Hunter told the police officer the store had some suspicious people working at it and asked if he was referring to the two staffers. Hunter responded, yeah, probably illegal. Got it? Wink, wink. This is Hunter trying to frame two Mexican men for his crime. It'd be almost unbelievable if he hadn't already done this a bunch of times. You know, Hunter Biden, when he was caught smoking crack in the military, that's why he was kicked out of the Navy. His dad got him a plum job in the Navy, right? PR guy in the Navy, you just sit in an office, right? And then you can say you served from your PR position. Hunter Biden gets that PR job in the Navy, gets kicked out within weeks when he's randomly drug tested, and then he blames two black guys. It's written up. It's in Hunter's own hand. He says two black guys gave me a crack cigarette. That's what happened. Because that's what happens in D.C. There's nothing but crack cigarettes just handed out everywhere, at every corner, by very mysterious young black men to people like Hunter Biden, right? That's just how the world works. He did it. Look it up. We have the documents, right? We have the proof. So there you go. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, who you're voting for if you wish to vote for this family. So just a reminder that decency is back in the White House. Jill Biden's been at the court every single day.
You were in the courtroom, and Hunter's in the same room as his wife, his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriend, and his mom and his sister. How awkward was that?
Yeah, it was definitely a unique situation. Ashley Biden was not there today, his sister, but she has been there the past couple days. Notably, the First Lady has been there every single day. I sat about 10 feet behind her, kind of at a diagonal, so I could see the side of her face as she was watching. And she seemed sad. She seemed troubled. She was stoic. She was watching. Hunter Biden's current wife, Melissa Cohen Biden, did the same, not reacting, just kind of being very muted as some of these images were being shown on the evidence chart. Pictures of Hunter with his shirt off, pictures of crack pipes, text messages. No question it was an awkward situation.
Okay. Just in case you're wondering, here's the cigarette story right here. From the New Yorker, far right-wing extremist site. Hunter said he bummed a cigarette from two men who told him they were from South Africa. He felt amped up, and he was driving down to Norfolk, and then he was incredibly exhausted. He told me that he called Bo and said, "I don't know what's going on." Bo drove from Delaware to meet Hunter near a naval station. He got me shipshape and drove me into the base. But then Hunter was asked for a urine sample. Oh boy. And that's where things got bad. You see, these two African men, they gave me crack cigarettes. It's all their fault. The Navy didn't buy that, shockingly, and kicked Hunter Biden out anyway. Well. What an interesting saga. Why not just arrest Hunter Biden? Because this is an illegal substance, and you're not allowed to use crack on a naval base, right? You're not allowed to. You are found to be testing positive for this illegal substance. Search his person, search his car, and then lock him up. Why didn't that happen? That would happen to you. It would happen to your son. That's what you can say. Let's go. There's plenty of military members in my family. Let me tell you what. Go try and smoke crack on a military base. Try it. See what happens to your kid. See how fast that court-martial happens to your child. Like, or don't. What I'm saying is, please don't do that, because your last name isn't Biden. But having the last name Biden has never stopped the Bidens. Joe Biden, in fact, has been bailing Hunter Biden out from the get. I mean, from when he was a teenager. At the age of 18 is the first record, maybe there's more, but at the age of 18 is the first record of Papa Joe walking in and getting crackhead Hunter out of jail. I mean, literally out of jail. Literally out of jail. And then making sure that all the evidence is deleted. The same scam they tried to pull at the Delaware gun store. Watch.
And the Biden family has a long history of covering up cocaine charges. Ask Hunter. He'll tell you straight up. If he wasn't a Biden, he'd be in jail.
I just wondered how you viewed sort of the money you made through your clients that enabled that addiction, and also maybe the ways it protected you from consequences that might have landed a lot of other people in jail.
I think it's completely unfair. And I think that I am 100% still here today and not in a jail cell or in an institution because of my privilege, and not just the privilege of a family that loved me, but the privilege of the fact that, I had been very successful.
Back in 1988, Hunter was arrested for cocaine possession in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. But Hunter walked out with a clean record. Why? Well, his dad, senator at the time, expunged his record. And at the same time, Biden was sweeping his son's coke under the rug. Biden was throwing average Americans in prison for coke possession. Same crime.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that remarkable? No one's above the law, Joe Biden tweets every 10 seconds these days. Or the intern, the shaky hand intern sends from Joe Biden's account. No one's above the law. Ah! Yeah, as Joe Biden reaches for the invisible chair behind him. There is something very invisible about the Bidens, and we can't help ourselves, and so we'll get to it very quickly. You know what we're about to do. We must expose the Biden marriage as a complete fraud. If you want to look for why there are bad apples on the ground, you must look to the root of the tree. Joe Biden was the babysitter. Joe Biden was married to a different woman, married to the mother of Beau Biden and Hunter Biden, who died tragically in a car accident. Joe Biden, of course, has photographs and did campaign speeches from the hospital beds of his injured children, which is such a creepy and weird thing to do. Jill Biden, on the other hand, who was the babysitter, Jill Biden was married. She was married to a totally different dude. Yes. And that dude is still alive today, doing interviews, saying, yeah, Joe Biden wrecked my marriage and then stole from me and then used mafia tactics to try and silence the story. Here we go.
Yeah, it's going to break her heart. He's the ex-husband of Dr. Jill Biden, the widely admired woman who's been at Joe Biden's side for 43 years. And he has an eye-opening story to tell.
I was betrayed by the Bidens. Joe was my friend. Jill was my wife.
According to Bill Stevenson, both he and Jill first got to know Joe Biden when Biden was a county councilman in Newcastle, Delaware. Stevenson asked his help obtaining a liquor license.
So you were friends with Joe Biden?
Oh, yeah. Not only that, I threw a fundraiser for him in August, raised between $2,500 and $3,000. We got married in 70. I introduced Joe to Jill in 72, right before the election.
Then one day, he says a man came into his bar and asked him to pay damages for a fender bender that involved Jill.
He looks at me and he says, "Oh, she wasn't driving." I said, "Her beloved Corvette, she wasn't driving it?" He goes, "Senator Biden was driving it." And I went, "What?"
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Ladies and gentlemen, it is our responsibility and obligation to expose these people for the garbage that they are. They're garbage people. Joe Biden's a garbage person. He's a scumbag. Really, like definitionally, he's a scumbag, man. Joe Biden was driving this guy's Corvette and he has to pay for the damages. Joe Biden whirling around. He has to pay for the damages that Joe Biden does when he gets in car accidents. These are these people. These are our elites. This is why they're so despicable. And it's why the country is in the state that it's in right now. Their only obligation is to themselves. Their only motive is to strip mine this nation that they inherited, that was handed to them, for as much as they possibly can to enrich their families and then to leave the rest in ashes. And to use their families, quite frankly, which is what Joe Biden has done his entire life to Hunter. Last image I'll put up here. Have a look. Here's Joe Biden with little Hunter Biden in a hospital bed. And Joe Biden is doing a political event in the hospital. There you go. Kind of a man does that. Are you a man? Are you a parent? You just love your kids? This was after little Hunter Biden's mother died in a car accident. And Joe Biden's initial response to that is, let's use my kid in a hospital bed as a political prop. Bring in the cameras and the mics. Let's go. Hot lights, microphones, random strangers. Let's make sure that I can use this as a prop for a campaign. You ever seen this photo? Oh, it's real. I know Joe Biden actually has some hair. Not a lot, though, actually. What's the date of this photo? Look at that. Joe Biden has a lot of hair. Can you zoom in? No? Joe Biden has some hair on his head. There he is. You wonder why these kids are messed up. Got some sideburns there. It's got to be the 1970s. And 1972. And you got little Hunter there in the bed. You can see the same eyes and everything. Little Hunter there in the bed. In hospital. Right? Yep. This will look good on the campaign flyers, on the donation requests. Let's go. Bring it in. Imagine being that kid. Imagine growing up. And then you wind up. Then there's no mystery as to why Hunter winds up the way that he does. Hunter Biden kicked out of the Satanic Sex Club. Headline you didn't see on CNN, but headline that is real. You want to know how you get there with your kid? You want to know why you get to these embarrassing situations that they're in, where Hunter Biden has to sit there all day and look at photos of himself smoking crack, have all of his ex-wives and his sister and his stepmom in there. Everyone's crying. Be such a mess, like the life handed you like a winning lotto ticket, and you spent it on a cement truck and a crane to lift that cement truck and drop it on you. Why? Well, how do you get there? Well, here's the image. The apple's rotten. Well, let's go to the tree. Joe Biden's rotten. He's a rotten guy. That's it. That's just it. He's a rotten dude. He's using his kid in a hospital bed as a prop for campaign. Marching in all the cameras and people. That's how you get there. Fast forward 50 years from this photograph, and you have Hunter Biden being kicked out of a demonic sex club in LA because he's a bad person, according to the owner of the exotic, satanic sex club. Hunter Biden's too bad of a person for us. We all wear like leather masks and like worship pentagrams and goat heads and stuff. And Hunter Biden scares us. That's how you get there. This is how you get there, right there. You know, I don't know why it's our show. It's the only show that actually like, does this research, but it's there. I mean, go check it out for yourself. We have all the evidence. We have all the documents. It is such a sad state for this country. Is there any good news? Any good news out there at all? Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like there is at least some sanity left in the world. Fani Willis has been spanked, and spanked very, very hard. Not sure as hard as you would get spanked in a demonic and satanic sex club, but nonetheless, a spanking for the ages. The federal appeals court halts trial of Trump and co-defendant, so it can review the conflict challenge with Fani Willis, and they'll go well into October to do that. So the chance of Donald Trump being prosecuted before the election in Georgia have gone down to zero. Zero. So sadly, while we will be hearing more from Fani Willis, the goal of all this is, of course, to rack up the charges, run up the score on Trump before the election, and that ain't going to happen. The news dropping yesterday that the appeals court in Georgia has said, hold up. Now, let's go.
The case against Trump in Georgia has been suspended indefinitely. The Georgia Court of Appeals is pumping the brakes on Trump's election interference case until they figure out if Fani Willis's affair with Loverboy is disqualifying. This decision all but guarantees that the case won't be heard until after this election. That's not the only Trump case on life support. The Florida documents case is probably being put on ice. Later this month, Judge Eileen Cannon is going to hear arguments about whether Jack Smith's appointment is even legal. The Supreme Court will also likely delay the Jan 6 case. So the only two trials going forward before the election are Hunter Biden's.
Nice. Sometimes I watch Jesse Waters' show. I'm like, it's good framing. Nice framing there. Well done. We don't write our show. We don't have a script or a teleprompter or anything for our show. So we just kind of like pop off. But that's a good line there. Very well. Hunter Biden's cases going forward. Jim Jordan told us it's the tax case that's the most interesting. Alina Habba, who we always pay attention to, says effectively that Fani Willis has fallen on her fanny ever since the very beginning. Take it away, Alina.
Willis is accused of having an affair with the prosecutor who was appointed to the case by her, benefiting from his salary and taxpayer dollars. Legal spokeswoman for Trump, Alina Habba, joins me now in studio. Alina, I'm watching this unfold. This broke like right as we were coming on air. This woman is riddled with problems, and I'm not even a legal mind.
No, she's fallen on her fanny since the very beginning. There's the headline for tomorrow, well folks. Done. But, no, truly, I mean, number one, this has completely been a disaster. It was a fake case to start with. Her arrogance, her demeanor has been incredibly telling. It's very much the typical coordinated, as we know, as you mentioned earlier in your show, with the Biden administration move. They have these state DAs, AGs coordinating to take down Trump. Well, she just took herself down in the most public display of chaos and disgrace, frankly. So I'm not surprised. The case will not go forward before November now. We do have a stay, which is great. Our team did amazing over there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have... we're sitting here trying to give you the good news of the day. We do have some breaking news. The judge in the Steve Bannon case has now ordered Steve Bannon, who's an ally of this program, and somebody who's a warrior, to report to prison by July 1st to serve 4 months for contempt of Congress. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the breaking news. Kind of country you want? You want a country? You want Stalinist country? That's why I call all these people on Piers Morgan. I said, you're all Stalinists. You lock up your political enemies with glee and joy and assume that it's never going to happen to you. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. I hope it will. Steve Bannon ordered to report to prison by July 1st. Serve contempt of Congress sentence. This is breaking news seconds ago. Producer just sent it in over the course of the last few moments. This article is dated from like a minute ago. Steve Bannon ordered to report to prison on July 1st. Federal judge, which prison will it be? Donald Trump advisor, short window to get, giving the Donald Trump advisor a short window to get higher court's intervention. Bannon was convicted for contempt of Congress in 2022, sentenced to 4 months in prison. Ironically, contempt of Congress is exactly the referrals that were sent for Hunter Biden and for Jim Biden by Jim Jordan that he spoke about on this program a few minutes ago. So will we be seeing any prison sentences? Bueller? Anything? Or are we just going to keep playing games that are rigged against us? How dumb are we sometimes? It's like, it really is enough. It really is enough to make you say, I better hit the gym or I better open up some scriptures. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our verse of the day. And I'll say at the beginning of this, pray for Steve Bannon. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out, says Proverbs 10:9. What a perfect verse of the day. The crooked path will be found out. Walk with integrity. Be above board. Make sure that you got nothing to hide. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to live inside these web of lies, and you know those people, these like clinical narcissists who like can't stop lying, so they have to lie about their lies, cover their lies about their lies about. Like these people, their lives always end. Their lives are a lie, and they always end like Joe Biden's is. Like, it's a mess. I don't know how much time Joe Biden has, but I'm telling you, like his kids will be in and out of courthouses. Both of his kids are in rehab. Everyone's like been, all his entire family tree has been disgraced. Everyone's going to go to prison. Because trust me, like the Biden crime family committed so many crimes in red states. Like, once people get their act together, shows like this, like they're all going to go to prison. Like, don't do that kind of stuff. It's a good country. You don't have to cheat everybody out of everything. You don't have to behave like that. And you can walk with integrity. And the amazing part about doing that is that what that proves about you is that you actually believe that there's a God. You believe that there's something bigger than you in the universe, and then that makes you act correctly. What kind of a parent are you? We had this conversation the other day. What kind of a parent are you going to be if you're an atheist? If you don't believe that your child's life matters at all, and your kid's just like a random blob, like, you mean a good parent? No, man, you need order, right? As parent, you need to like feel the weight of like God's command over the blessing that is these children. And when you feel that weight of God's command, whether you're a parent or not, when you feel that in your life and that purpose and that calling, then it makes you stand a little more upright, right? It gives you a little more in your jaw. And it gives you like an opportunity to say, I should behave morally here. Doesn't matter if nobody's looking. I should behave like a moral person because God knows. And so then that sets your path. And what what this kind of behavior that we've been detailing about the Bidens does, all of it, right? All of it points to, we're all sinners saved by grace, but all of it points to a lack of acknowledgement of God at all the way down to Joe Biden being so pro-baby murder as a Catholic in defiance of his church. Joe Biden defying his church and his own faith on multiple fronts. What does that say? That says Joe Biden thinks he's God. Joe Biden believes he's God. And that God isn't God, Joe Biden's God, right? I'm the guy with the button, Jack. Just using it as like a little parable, okay? To say, dude, don't live a life like that. Don't live a life like that. There is a God, and he's just, and he's promised us the victory, and we have nothing to fear. And he's the most powerful thing in the universe. He is the universe, and he is the creator, and it's great to have God on your side. And that is our fight, ultimately. And the forces that wish to steal, kill, and destroy on this earth, which are the signs of Satan. Steal, kill, and destroy, right? According to Scripture. Simple Christians on this channel. We're just Christians. We just read our Bible and believe it. Those people, that's what we're fighting. People who are stealing, killing, and destroying. That's who we're fighting. That's it. Okay? That's it. Doesn't have a party affiliation, just the blackness of the human spirit throughout all time. And you should march with us. You should join our Benny Brigade. You should march with us. We have a happy warriors here. We're independent, and we're gonna bring the truth every single day. There's a lot of really exciting things happening at this program with this audience, and we're deeply thankful for you. And we want to say once and for all that the reason we do this program is you. We do this program because we're all fighting for the same thing together, and it makes it pretty easy, ladies and gentlemen, to show up every single day. It's a great motivation, actually. The salvation of Western civilization. Yeah. As ever, we'll be back tomorrow. It's your boy Benny. We have an interview with Roseanne later today, so we encourage you to check that out on our show on Tenet in the Arena. Please join us there later today at 5 p.m. Roseanne, that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Never a dull moment here, and we're thankful. We're thankful for you. God bless you, and Godspeed. It's your boy Benny. See ya.